40K models were Harlequins. I went to the store looking to buy Eldar. They said they were sold out of Eldar, but they had this box of Harlequins, and it was the big box of the original 22 or whatever Harlequins that they're in metal. Bought them. Turns out that was at the time, I don't know, like 30,000 points of 40K in that one box, because Harlequins were very expensive.
Yep.
Point wise. And so was able to play, for a good. That's how I got into it. And then shortly thereafter was Blood Angels. Like, basically, I saw the cover of the compendium, the one that had the guy in gold armor surrounded by folks in red armor.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought that was just a really great scene, and I had to know more. And the rest is history.
Oh, perfect, mate. Nice. So I think we should be definitely live. We can see some questions in the chat as well. So I'll just at this point welcome anybody to ask Paul a question. And so, Paul, how long have you been doing Forge the Narrative podcast for?
Going 7 years.
Wow.
I think it was 7 years. So started so I think this is the 7th year. It's been fun, over 300 episodes, and got to meet people from all over the world. That's been actually the most exciting thing is being able to meet, interact, and to hear what basically how common we all are to each other, all around the world. It's been really awesome.
It is really one of the most incredible communities I've ever been in.
Yeah. Because we've got so many things we got things to look at, we got things to talk about, we have things to read, there's techniques and tricks to share, and that's the thing, we all come into this with different awareness and different stages and different things that mean something to us, but you can find a community to interact with that cares about the same things or teaches you new things, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, so what's always been the draw for you then, and sort of kept you in the hobby? What's kind of like been always your biggest? Is it the hobby side? Is it competitive play? Throwing down with some mates? What is it for you that really?
Space vampires and space elves.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I like the over-the-top science fiction. So the real like gritty, the far-reaching scope of it. The fact that you can. The vastness. There's nothing too big for 40K. Like you can know we have star killer ships. That are the size of planets and universes being swallowed up into the eye, or not universe, but galaxies being swallowed up into the eye of terror.
Yep.
And that kind of stuff. There's never anything that's too big, and the fact that I like that. I've been a fan of things like the Cthulhu mythos and that kind of stuff. But it also deals with these like conceptual. Horrors in reality, and we've got that in 40K, but in 40K we get to actually put on a suit of armor and then go pew it with stuff, or we can represent that kind of human side of things with things like the Guard or the tragicness of the fall in the Eldar. I mean, there's a story element that draws me in, but I really like also the strategy game side of it, and then putting together the models, being able to hold a hero in your hand is pretty interesting. And as far as like the hobby stuff, I don't call myself good at painting. I produce things that I'm happy about, but it's only over since we've started doing the media and stuff, right? I mean, not us, but people have started doing the media, sharing tutorials and things. The hobbies that side of the hobbies become very accessible through the works of other people, which has in turn made me better at it. And then what I do on my show is I share some of the stuff that's made me better, stuff that I can actually pick up a figure and go, I just did that, and I'm really happy with it. And it's encouraging. And sometimes I do a vanity unit every now and then, just to test my, what I've learned.
Yeah, so I think I'm the same, really. I kind of try and get stuff to the table as quickly as I can so I can play with it, because I'm priority a player, but then I really do find a sense of sort of that... it's just so therapeutic, isn't it, sometimes when you want to chill, you've got some music on, audiobook, and sometimes I can just get engrossed in this one model.
Yep.
And then I look back and I'm like, wow, 6 hours gone. And other times I can paint pretty much a whole army in 6 hours. So it's real diverse, and like you said, there is something about kind of for me, it's kit bashing. That's my favourite aspect of the hobby.
Oh, I've got a Facebook group. If you're not in it, you should join it, called the Kit Bash Crew.
Right, I'm joining it.
I mean, it's up to a fair amount of members, and people share. I mean, I'm not a converter. Like, I don't know how to use green stuff. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. But I'll kit bash all day long. Like give me just a box or a bucket of sprues and let me do what I want. And yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's for me. It's just like in the new Primaris models are just so clean lines. You just cut them up, stick them on. I mean, that sounds a bit gross, but do you know what I mean? You can really do some good combos with the kit bashing is definitely. And like you said, like one of my friends, he's an incredible painter. He's just brought out a YouTube channel, and I was watching it yesterday, and I was like, I need to start painting my sisters the way that he just makes it sound so easy, you know.
Well, I mean, part of the thing, I talk about this every now and then too. Is like we call them, like you and I may call them cheats. Like this looks like it feels like I'm cheating, I'm doing something, but the artists just call them techniques. And so, at the end of the day, it's to them. Sometimes if you can save time and get an effect that you want, then go for it. I mean, do that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is that easy. It's just knowing how to manipulate the product. That's another thing. The products have gotten a lot more interesting and a lot more user friendly. Than they used to be, which is, again, helps people like me. But then, what the artists say too, like the true people, you look at their models and they're great, is that they just spent more time on it. They just spent 100 hours, and we make that judgment call like, that's 100 hours I'm not wrecking somebody's face on the tabletop. That's 95 hours that I'm not wrecking somebody's face on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Let's go that way. It's just how we choose to prioritize our time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or it's a case of you're going on there and you're focusing on this model and you're like, you get into the table and you realise it doesn't actually fit now in the list. That's the worst. And you're like,
when you make the coolest standard bearer, the guy with this combi weapon is like, I never have the points for that. What did I do?
Absolutely.
I made this Terminator guy with like 2 swords. They're extended out. It's like, you can't even put this in an army. Like there's no rules for this. But again, that's what I'm talking about. A vanity unit. What I mean is to just sit down and do it because you thought about it or wanted to do it, or you've got this pile of bits or something.
Yeah. So actually, for me, it's a case of I want to take a look at the new elves. I've never really played a little bit of fantasy years ago.
You're talking about the Realm Lords? Lumineth?
Yes.
The Lumineth Realm Lords?
Yeah, the new high elves. So I'm tempted to sort of maybe dip the toe in AOS. Have you got much experience with that, AOS?
Yeah. Okay. It's fun. The reason it's AOS is fun and different is that the rules are just different enough to make you think in different strategies, and there's less, in my opinion anyway, less of like a linear path to victory.
Okay.
With your army builds, so it is fun. I have Deepkin, Sylvaneth, and then my buddies that I play against has Fleshier Courts and Skaven, and we're able to have some pretty interesting battles. But I'm also looking at those Realm Lords, and like I told you, Space Elves are my jam. It translated into High Elves back in the Warhammer days too. So, but those models are just spectacular.
Yeah, and I'm already looking at some Shining Spear conversions with those new sort of elves, sort of the riders. They look so good. They're just dying, I think, to be a Shining Spear conversion on a Eldar jet bike.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, they've knocked it out of the park. I mean, what they can do with plastic stuff. I mean, I'm a fanboy. Look, if anybody's not familiar with me, I am a fanboy. I love this stuff. It's hard for me to find a miniature from the company that I don't like.
Yeah.
But particularly these Realm Lords are kind of, they're making them their own thing, right? Like they're not just High Elves. They are Age of Sigmar Lumen Elf Realm Lords, High Elves that are different than their Lord of the Rings brand of stuff. And they've got these elements that I wouldn't have considered, but I like it.
Yeah. I saw the preview to that massive, he's basically a mountain, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, probably need to pick up a mountain, yeah.
The Beefer of Secrets.
Yeah. Need him. Yeah. And I need that guy with shadow armor, like with...
Yeah.
He looks good. So, I'm very excited about getting some sort of AOS on the table. So, Paul, what have you been working on then during this kind of lockdown period? What I want to know what's been sort of keeping you, sort of that hobby alive for you? Yeah,
Necromunda. I actually started basically a whole new game.
Okay.
That was I really like Kill Team, and that's been something that I can do where I can, because maybe much like you, I am a filthy meta chaser. Like I like to see what's competitive. I like to evolve with it. I like to experience it. I like to dream about. This is actually what keeps me in the hobby. I get to dream about what I'm going to build next. I get to dream about what I'm building is going to fight against. I get to think about what they might take, how someone's going to anticipate me, and then I get to anticipate that, and then I end up building both armies.
Yeah. Just in case. Yeah.
That's right. You never know, right? So that keeps me kind of rooted very much into it. But what I find interesting in getting to play with people who don't experience or try to attack the game in that way is Kill Team. So I've been trading for, building models, little things here and there, adding to kill teams and various other things. This has led to me having way more Sisters of Battle than I probably anticipated having, way more Death Guard than I anticipated. I love Death Guard, by the way. Death Guard is kind of like, if I had a third and fourth tier of like what I consider my favorite armies in 40k, Death Guard is right up there.
Go on then, give us a rank and quick, top 1 to 5, go on.
Well, Blood Angels.
Yep.
I guess you can list the two, Craft World's Eldar, Harlequins, and then, Imperial Guard is up there, and then Death Guard. Yeah, Death Guard would be number 5, I think, for what I like. And I play Catechins, so that model they spoiled today that's going out to the retail stores, I am real excited about trying to get my hands on that. I have to, I've got to hit my local game store, see if I can get on a list, and then if I can, I'll be fishing out for other places, because I don't know how people don't like a bunch of little Rambos run around the table. But that's me growing up in the 80s and watching all those movies that had Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Carl Weathers,
exactly that.
Ventura, shooting machine guns and running around in combat vest. Come on, I can't not. And I like tanks. Whatever. Anyway, that's why Guard's on the list, and I'm particularly excited about what we saw today. But that's it. So Kill Team and the Necromunda. Painted up some Goliaths, which I really like, and then I'm working on Orcs. So nice. doing various things just to stay in it. I mean, really, with the podcast and interacting with people on Twitter and Instagram, I stay pretty with it. But then I still like to do it. Like it's one thing to talk about it, but then another thing to get in there and live it. And that's staying current. Yeah. What is the current? We don't even know what it is. So this is a perfect time to go and kind of work on side projects or fun things. Or I've been building scenery for Necromunda, painted that gang, enabled some friends that I know with some giving them some figures to work on, for Necromunda to play this campaign. Looking forward to when we can eventually all congregate back together.
Yeah, nice. Did you ever play Wartime?
I did. I wasn't good at it. Yeah. I don't want to say like it, or I wasn't heavy into it. But that whole like skirmish level thing is I like. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the big 40k games. I like to tiptoe into Apocalypse every now and then. Yeah. But when you can sit down and play, you can get a full experience of moving models around, rolling dice, and get those highs and lows in a 40-minute, hour and a half type scenario. I'm down with that too, because it opens up who I can play it with. Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed that when I was younger. A case of like, especially rolling on the damage table when he's been took out of action, as he lost a leg or something. You're like, maybe he's got horrible scars, and that was kind of what. Again, it just gives such great opportunity to build a really good scenic board so they can jump off multi-levels. So it's probably what you're doing at the moment for the Necromunda, because it's a very similar game, right?
Check it out.
Okay.
Warcry, if you have not checked it out, again, I'm going to talk about the models. Find a bad Warcry model. I'll wait. You're not going to. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you've got that. Running, jumping, different level experience with these in kind of a gritty world. With these amazing figures.
Oh, nice! Yeah, no. I'll have
so if you're looking to experience, it's not Sigmar. It isn't. The way it plays is way different than like Kill Team for 40k plays.
Okay.
It's not the same. So it's not Kill Team for Sigmar. It's its own thing, but the models in the world is the same. So if while you're waiting on the Realm Lords to come out, maybe you take a peek at Warcry.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Right, I'm going to jump in the chat and see if we've got any questions for you. So we've got. Hey guys, who do you think got the best from Psychic Awakening as someone who plays Scions as a standalone army? and he's extremely happy. So, out of all the Psychic Awakenings, who do you feel like these guys got it good?
Here's my hot take: Gene Stealer cult? No. Basically, everybody but Gene Stealer cult.
Yeah.
The Scions, though, got a huge benefit. If the hands down winner from Psychic Awakening is Blood Angels. I mean, that turned them from a third, fourth tier, basically the bad luck tier of 40k up to competitive, and I think they had the absolute pound for pound best. That maybe that answer was a foregone conclusion from my side anyway. Second best, God, it's hard to pick a second best. There's a lot of armies got that well needed boost. What do you think?
Yeah, Blood Angels are up there. Space Wolves, I think, they got good. And then for me as well, actually, Space Marines.
But see, they were already good.
I know.
That's why I was about to say it, but they were already good.
They didn't need it. They did not need it. Yeah. When they got the ability to, because I've been looking really deep into like the Faith and Fury book, like the Apothecary, the Banner Guy, even the company, the company veteran, the company champion. I'm like, he's real sick. Like, he's got play. If you just needed like a little beat stick character in your back lines, a bit of a counterpunch, I'm like, I could put him in. But that, the Apothecary to give your whole army, like Iron Hands, a 5-up, feel no pain, and then you've got the Librarian that can dive into any discipline, and he knows an extra power, which I was a little bit gutted about, because I quite like, I don't know about you, and this is what's so great about the hobby, right? We can all play it in our own way, but in my mind, I love having like Chief Librarian Tigorus on the table or Mephiston, and nobody can touch them in terms of their psychic powers. But then I'm a bit gutted that you can pay 1 CP and kind of have a guy like Dave, just Librarian Dave, who's now good as Mephiston, and I'm just
as
like,
a counterpoint.
Yeah,
just as one man's opinion.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, perception is key is critical here. But the whole concept of Space Marines, the reason we have 2 unknown legions is so you can make your own. So somebody out there with their space sharks who doesn't, they may have a chief librarian named already, but there's somebody out there with their particularly themed Space Marine force now gets to put a chief librarian in their force and gets to build a narrative around them. I agree with you. I mean, when you put Niall on the table or Mephisto on the table, you want them to have that gravitas and powers that surround them. I'm right there with you on that. But yeah, I mean, somebody out there gets to have their boutique chapter with a Master of Sanctity now. Yeah,
their slice of the cake, so to speak. And that's exactly it. And I think that's kind of what's so great about the hobbies. You can kind of play it in any way you want now, and I think that's really what Psychic Awakening is giving everyone, the ability.
We like to judge, though. We do like to judge. But I never hobby shame. Never ever hobby shame. That's one of my core tenets.
I cannot wait to see what the Harlequins get. I hope it's more than what the Dark Eldar get, because they didn't get much either, unfortunately, the Dark Eldar.
They're another one I don't think really needed that though, so it's tough. And that's another thing with Gene Stealer cults. If I was a little bit tongue in cheek with my comment, but they're already pretty good. Like, the reason that Gene Stealer cults are not winning as much anymore, it's because we've figured out how to play against them. It doesn't mean they're not good or they don't have tricks. That's why the Ridge Runner thing was so. When we saw that at the LVO, it was so novel, because that was just another thing that came out of their arsenal, and they did okay. I mean, if you can build something that you like to build and play and win 3 games out of 5, you're still doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So we just kind of caught on to the Gene Stealer cult tricks, and I think that we maybe shouldn't expect they get better tricks. I mean, they're already kind of annoying with their tricks. I mean, to play against, not to play with, but it's a high skill army. It has a bit of a learning curve to it, and granted they did, but things like Blood Angels, they weren't even really playable on the competitive scale. You had to just hope you rolled a lot of 6s. And so hoping I'm hoping Necrons get the same thing. I hope Necron players, you basically just have to hope you roll a lot of 6s right now to win that 5 games, and I'm hoping they get this elevated up in a similar way as Blood Angels.
Mm.
I don't want the Blood Angels and the Necrons teaming up in any way. No. But again, I got my own judgments about some lore.
Yeah, I mean, you've got that new incredible model they've just brought out for the Necrons as well, so hopefully he'll be like a good force multiplier, like the Iron Father is for the Iron Hands. Hopefully he'll be that sort of keystone character, because he is an incredible model that they released the other day.
What about a Night and Day? It's like, what's that meme? Is like, be careful who you call ugly in middle school or whatever. Just that. Yeah. I mean, gone from a 32 millimeter base up to a 100 millimeter base, a 60 millimeter base. I mean, and as spectacular as the model looks, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what they go. Well, I'm not actually, because I don't play Necrons, but I'm sure when they get to the table, I'll be like, you can do what?
Yeah, what was that again?
Yeah.
And so you've never seen some of those units.
I'll be like, let me read that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I'll have that moment of comprehension, like, well, yeah, you can actually do that. Okay, cool.
That just happened.
Yeah.
Necrons, if they have a hot roll, I mean, it's a hot turn, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nothing more demoralizing than almost killing a unit of destroyers and then having them all come back. Yeah. Like, that is, as someone who's played against that. Look, if you're playing against me, your luck is going to be good. Like, that's going to happen to you if you're playing Necrons.
Yeah. I've only ever got those stories where my opponent managed to do the most incredible stuff. And I've only got the stories where I failed, a 3D 6-inch charge with a +2 on, with rerolls. I'm just like, no.
Yep.
111, great. Yep. Yeah, that's I've got those stories, but never my whole unit of destroyers came back and I only had one model remaining. Yeah, I don't have those. So you sound like me.
Yeah. So if the Necrons get like more tricks, like their army can do something other than that, and they're not so dependent upon getting those D6 rolls. I mean, like, well, a lot of their stuff is D6 shots or D6 damage, and so if you just have a mediocre round, then you feel like you're not doing much. And if the Necrons get something that puts them into that category where it's less die roll dependent, I think they're going to be a force. I think we'll see them come back in a big way because they've got this endurance that not a lot of other armies have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, right, I've got another couple of questions for you. Andy said, what's your friend's channel for painting? So my friend's channel is Cult of Paint, so you can go and check that out. It's a brand new YouTube channel from Andy Wardle. I don't know if you've ever met Andy Wardle, Paul, but he normally flies over to the LVO. He's normally doing all the painting tutorials and stuff. So good friend of mine, so he's absolutely fantastic. Okay, this one's for you then, Paul. What's your go-to channel for painting tips?
Oh, that's a good question. I poke around a lot of them to find, like, because I'm not a super good technical painter. I have to look at it and I have to find 3 or 4 different ones that show me the technique in a few different ways.
Yeah.
And then I find one that I think I can most easily replicate.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest ones to follow are typically the Warhammer community ones.
Yeah.
But I follow several others. I'll bring them up. I'll send you the links if you don't mind, and maybe you can send them in later. But
I'll post them in the chat.
I just don't want to. Yeah, I just don't want to misrepresent some of these guys. But there are some amazing tutorials out there.
Yeah. No, I really like. I was saying on the live show yesterday, like one of my favorite apps to use is just the Citadel Color app, because I'm just like, right, I need to paint a Space Marine. Okay, how do I do it? I look up exactly all the colours I need, and I just think it's such a simple way of doing it is great. Send me that over, and I'll pop it in the chat at some point.
I will.
So you guys can check that out.
Zach Cascagoon's, that's a channel where he does a lot of really gritty stuff.
Okay.
Miniac, I follow his stuff because I like the different ways. I like that he shows some of his mistakes along the way. Again, as someone who you can relate to that. There's a few good tutorials out there that I followed almost to the letter for my Sylvaneth, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. And then I watch some of like the super high end stuff. Not that I think that I can replicate it, but you never know when you might pick up a little trick.
Yeah, or just even for inspiration, right? It's good to see, okay, that's the top level, right? That gives me somewhere to aim for, and I think that's kind of why we enjoy this hobby. Whether you're a competitive gamer or you enjoy painting, it's all about that kind of self-rewarding feeling of I'm getting better, and it's a really good mindset to have. Is a developmental growth mindset. I think is excellent. So, Brian did say in the chat here, the Grey Knight's got a pretty good going from the Psychic Awakening as well.
That is the truth. I can't believe I forgot about Grey Knights. They went from another almost bad luck tier. I mean, it's hard. I get it. It's hard to point something that has a force weapon and can cast a psychic power and has power armor, and I mean, like it's hard to figure out what the right sweet spot for that is. That doesn't like push them into the realm of absurdity.
Yeah, because you don't want them too cheap, do you?
But now they're at the point where the Thousand Suns, for instance, they are I'd say a solid B tier army with the smite spam, and they're on par with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what some of the abilities that they got with the tides and stuff, like Grey Knights just a cool army as well. The aesthetic, everything about them. I've just gave myself a mission to paint a 2,000 point army to a decent standard in 24 hours, and I've filmed everything, like the making, the building, my thought process from list design to units I ordered to what I stumbled with along the way, like, okay, don't put this on it this order, you have to do it this way. I did loads of time lapses, and then I did the painting as well, and I was out in the garden doing like a Zenithal highlight with Greyseer can just on the lot, all in one go.
Don't underestimate the power of a spray can.
Gets work done. So I did. So I need to edit all that up and put it out there. And I'm sure I've been talking about, and I need to edit this. There's just so many elements to it because I did every single stage. So editing's probably going to take me longer than actually painting the whole army itself.
That's funny. Yeah. I can't wait to see that. See how you because squeaking out efficiency. Like there's sometimes I did something very similar. I painted. It wasn't in a day. I painted 2,000 points in 3 weeks, getting ready for a tournament. Yeah, it was one of those. Like I just see if I can do it, and it's a fun challenge. Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, this is not a sprint. Like our Warhammer doesn't have to be a sprint. I think that somebody told me a long time ago that like one of the definitions of entertainment is something that's engaging and distracting. Or whatever, and we get to kind of pace ourselves with how we do this. I could spend 4 hours painting tonight, or I could spend 4 hours reading a novel about 40k, or I could spend 4 hours playing a video game about 40k. I mean, we get to. It's not necessarily a sprint unless we want to make it that way.
No, it was actually good giving myself a timeline and a challenge. I got it done. That's cool. And there's sometimes what a good competition's like. We probably all be. If you're not painting the night before a competition, are you really playing? That's
I remember my first grand tournament, man. I was running Death Company, and for some reason I kind of thought it was cool to have them in a Rhino. This is like on the tail end of Rhino Rush. I know I just dated myself, but I already talked about the compendium, so whatever. That test game right the night before the tournament where the Rhino just got blown up on turn 1, which we all know can happen, right? Mm-hmm. And I need to put jump packs on all these guys. So 15 dudes got jump packs, 1 hour before the
that's incredible.
The show, But we all have stories like that. I consider it's a bit of an adrenaline rush.
That's it, yeah. No, I think your first one's always the most like you're texting your mates. Is this passable? Is this okay? Or is this going the right base? Or do I need to put decals on all of my models? Or is my list formatted correctly?
I forgot what the rubric said. Am I going to get a point for ring in the bases? Do I need to stick grass in these bases to get my extra point? Because I paint that. I didn't talk about that, but I paint for points. Yeah. Like that was what my original entry into the hobby was just figuring out. Okay, I get points if I do this. So I'm gonna go down the checkbox and just do that for points. And if you're looking to get into hobbying, that's really not a bad thing. And you're a tournament player, right? Mm-hmm. That's not a good metric to go by, or not a bad metric to go by, because it gives you something objective to shoot for. You can look at something and maybe challenge yourself just a little bit with these getting points.
much better, I think, going... We don't have that here in the UK. It's just kind of, is it painted? But then that's a very loose description, I think. But I definitely like that, because we don't have a hobby track over here either. And I think if you got some points for your army, it would give you like, here's the standard I need to hit, rather than just being, is it got 3 colours in painted a base, you know? Yep. So I think that, introducing something like that would be quite nice, I think, to events, to go, look, even if it's not like you get points for it or something, so that it doesn't exclude the people that don't have the time to either paint to that. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of...
there's all kind of reasons. Yeah. There's tons of reasons why we could not do that. You could feel like you've hit your peak, right? This looks great to you, and without we can get context, like the things like looking on Twitter and looking at pictures and Facebook groups and that kind of stuff. We can get context, but sometimes you don't even know. Like, I've got one of my first Blood Angel. They're right over there. Like, I'm going to show it to you if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
Right. Just like I've been doing some cleaning up and rearranging, and then this is one of my first. I don't know what happened to his arm over here, but this is one of my first Blood Angel models.
That's incredible.
Now, it's a Devastator, whatever. I've got that box over there. Is that original box set of Devastators that I make fun of people. Is like, you got one last cannon, you got one plasma cannon, you got one heavy bolter, one missile launcher. Like, that's how the box came, man. Like, you didn't have any other option unless you bought multiple boxes or bit swapped with people.
Yeah. And did your tactical marine have a plasma pistol, a power sword, and then a flamer and a
Yeah, that's it. That was all you had back then. But back then you would have never really equipped a Devastator squad that way, because you mixed fire, right? Now you can actually split fire, so having the one-off heavy bolter is not
a bad thing. Yeah,
you could make a case for it, right?
Yeah, cool.
But knowing that, like that was my hobby standard for a long time, and until you go out and see other people's models, you don't even know what's possible with on the same real estate of a model. But I mean, there's things you can do. Like, that's only as one basing element. It's got some green flock. One step up from that was adding some rocks. Just like simple things to do that you could start to elevate yourself, even if you're not great at moving the brush around.
Yeah, I hear flowers are in at the moment for basing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do flowers. I'm like, actually looks quite good, flowers. Yeah.
That's how I squad mark my Sylvaneth.
Oh yeah.
The Sylvaneth are all, fairly uniform. Uniform for nature. The trees, the bark look the same way, right? Their weapons look very similar.
Yeah.
But I squad mark them by different groupings of flowers on their bases. So this is the white and purple squad, the orange and green squad, and that kind of stuff. There's really some good basing materials.
So you got lilies over there, poppies over here, roses. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Well, nice. It's communicating with my opponent. That's another way to talk about hobby stuff, is that on the table, when you're in the thick of it, when the battle is raging, you don't want to be thinking, does this squad have 9 people in it or 10? You don't want your opponent to think that you have somehow misrepresented the number of dice that you should be rolling. And so the way the model looks, the physical representation of it, is a way to communicate in a competitive setting as well. It's not just about looking pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. I'm just going to jump in the chat and see if we've got any more questions. Yeah, sorry, I took us off on a
long tangent.
Paul, honestly, the guys that tune into my show fully well know I just go off. I've been doing this now for 36 days. I've spoke about all kinds of things. So, I've been giving out some nutrition tips, some fitness stuff. We've been talking about some mindset things. It's just... it's gone out there, so don't worry about it, Paul. That's kind of what I thought. Bring you on today, less structured, just have a chat. I tell you what, actually, I've been truly humbled by some of the emails I've got from people that have just tuned in and said, Steve, if it wasn't for your 6 o'clock, I wouldn't even know what time of day it was. You've kept me like with some sort of routine, or I've had some really wonderful emails from the community, and it just shows that. What a great bunch of people that we have in it. So, right, let's have a quick look. Okay, this is from Waz. Where do you see the meta going post Psychic Awakening, leading to an edition of 8.5 or 9th maybe? Obviously, there's a lot of speculation and all that, but I've kind of said I don't think it will change too much. If there is going to be a change, I think 8th edition is amazing, so I wouldn't see the need to change it too much, but in terms of meta, where do you think it could possibly go? What?
You brought up Space Wolves earlier, and I do think they also got a significant bump. Especially with it's hard to pin all your hopes and dreams on one character, but if you were to pick one character, Ragnar is not a bad choice.
Yeah.
And we haven't, because of the state that we're in right now of not being able to congregate at these larger tournaments, we haven't seen what some of these Psychic Awakening how it's going to impact things.
Yeah.
But how I've always said how you balance 40K is mission design and points. This is basically what you can do, and we all kind of like playing at this 2,000 point level. It gives us a nice collection of models. So we got mission design. So the missions, if you're playing depending on whatever your tournament choice of missions are, but if you're not playing a tournament, you still want some way to win. You want a path to victory or whatever, right? I think that we're going to see things like Space Wolves make an impact, and I'll tell you at least why I think that way is because of their ability to control the midfield. Is that they benefit from some of these kind of pushed units. I'm sorry I'm beating a dead horse here, but the Impulsor is a rock star unit. That that thing that we've kind of chided it for the way it looks. But it has all the stats that you need to be successful and competitive. And then when you put it in something that wants to be up there in that midfield and take control of the momentum, like Space Wolves, I think you could see an impact from those guys. Yeah,
and a great way to screen characters, right? And they've got, I suppose, a utility where once your boys are out, your Wolf and you're in, your Thunderwolf Cav, whatever is your choice of flavour, then they can go back in, grab objectives, control the backfield if you ever needed to. So we also haven't seen much, and I've sort of said this as well, we've had a lot released actually since this COVID-19 situation. We haven't even seen Sisters to the fullest degree, because the Sisters release in terms of their full amount of I suppose range of models only got released a week before lockdown here happened. I remember picking up.
You need time for it all to develop. People need to see what works. Because you probably do the same thing. You get a codex in your hand, you make an initial list, you play with it, you find out you got some inefficiencies. Whatever. I'm sure you're down to that 100 points worth of inefficiencies or whatever. But a lot of people, I think, are going to find themselves in that 500 to 750 points of inefficiencies, and then you start to move it to leaner and leaner and leaner.
Yeah, I think when I first started with my Sisters list, I went real shooty with it when I first read the book. And the only thing I got right in my original list was I had a Canoness, 3 units of Battle Sisters, and Celestine. The rest has been changed. So now I'm going full-on combat, because I think that's the true path to victory with the Sisters. Which is
midfield control, right? I think midfield control is going to be what the new meta is to kind of hone in on the question. I think that the Tau did it really, really well. And then what we've seen is Sisters and Space Wolves, and probably I'm gonna go out on a limb and say probably Necrons and Grey Knights are going to be able to get up there in the midfield and start to really influence the game. You're not going to be able to approach them because you'll get X thing will happen to you from them, Y thing will happen to you from the other army, and then they can just sit there and just score points and get a lead, and then make it very difficult for you to shift them once they've gotten to where they want to be.
And that's probably why this actually feels like a long time ago, but when Plague Marines were everywhere, that's exactly what Plague Marines did. They not Plague Marines, what's the word I'm looking for? Not Poxwalkers, Plague Bearers.
Plague Bearers.
Sorry,
I think that's what I mentally heard when you said Plague Bearers. Or Plague Marines.
Not Plague Marines, Plague Bearers. When they were 3 units, -2, -3 to hit, and you knew if you went anywhere near the midfield, they're just going to wrap you, and then you're going to get smite spam to death. And that was why it was so hard to claim the board off them, because you couldn't go close, because you'd get wrapped, and then all your shooting would literally be inefficient. And they just had some, so many demon princes behind them to back them up, along with Tzeentch sorcerers and all that.
I was about to say 1,000 Suns, which is very unfluffy. Very
So that was kind of again, they were real midfield, slow, but they would get there.
I think enough armies have gotten that boost that we're going to see midfield control be like an archetype. After this,
it's going to be interesting to see how the Harlequins can step up, because they're not the best bullies, are they? The Harlequins, they can punch hard, but then that's it.
Yeah, hopefully they can get away and isolate. Because that's the thing, you got to isolate with them, and if there's enough plentiful things, I mean, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing, or good thing to mental exercise. Yeah.
I think if people always ask me what army should I play if I really want to improve my skill level, and for me it is Harlequins, because you have to know your target priority extremely efficiently. Because you can't take a punch, so you have to make sure every punch you give just destroys your opponent. You have to know how to wrap and trap really effectively. And also the other thing is you cannot really multi-charge particularly well. So if you're going up in against another combat army, if you multi-charge, you're just going to lose that other squad straight off.
Yeah.
And it could be against 5 Space Marines, or 5 tactical boys could easily kill.
I hadn't thought about that. That's actually that's a really good point. They don't multi-charge as well.
No.
Yeah, they're a scalpel.
Yeah.
Right, and the scalpels, sometimes you just need a big sledgehammer in 40k.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what they get from Psychic Awakening, but I better start working on my Harlequins now to get them ready for when that day comes, because I'm sure I'll be very excited about getting them back out on the table. So I won't keep you too much longer, because I said we'd sort of go for about 30 minutes and we're already at 40.
I've been rambling. I apologise.
No, I really appreciate all the time you've given us, and there's been some great. So I'm going to quick fire around them, Paul. Okay. Lamartes or Astorath?
Lamartes.
Oh, okay, controversial.
Which was my favorite, or which one has the best rules?
You've got it. You've got it. Incursors or Infiltrators?
Incursors.
Okay, cool. Death Company.
I changed mine.
Death Company or Sanguinary Guard?
I don't like the situation you're putting in right now, but it's Sanguinary Guard.
Okay, nice. Blood Angels or Space Wolves?
Oh, Blood Angels all the way.
Okay. Ragnar or Mephiston?
Mephiston.
Okay, nice. Yeah, good. I think I'd have answered.
I'd even put them 1-on-1 against each other. Mephiston's still winning.
Really? That's a bit cool. Okay, yeah, all right.
Mephiston moves faster. He's going to get the chase. He's going to get momentum.
Or just run away. Just shoot him with his plasma pistol every turn and just get on out of there. Yeah.
Always overcharging. Always hidden.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to. Does he? I haven't used Mephiston in a long time. Does he still die if you roll a 1?
Oh yeah, he does.
Oh wow, Mephiston, come on, mate. He can fight the Black Rage, but not a plasma pistol.
Not a plasma pistol.
And you wouldn't think you'd picked up one of the good ones either, like some of the other things get what they don't. He's still got one of the old school ones, yeah. That just
he knows his limits. He can do a lot of things. I'm real proud of him. Resisting a plasma pistol is not one of them.
No, honestly, Paul. Look, we're going to wrap that up because, like I said, I don't want to keep you for too long, and I really, really appreciate you coming on and chatting to us today. We've had some great questions in the chat and stuff, and it's been an absolute pleasure just kind of finding out a little bit more about you and kind of what you enjoy about the hobby and stuff. So,
thanks for having me on, man. I mean, what you're doing for the hobby is absolutely fabulous. Top-notch guy. Real happy you invited me on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, and hopefully I get to see. When's your next? I mean, obviously with this whole thing, you got any events planned later in the year or anything?
I had plenty of them planned. So, but as this starts to shake out, I'm definitely still going to be going out to things that are conceivable to do. Yeah, cool. I'm really looking forward to it. Some of the events, we know a lot of the events are questionable. Like even the ones that are planned later in the year. We don't know, right, if they're going to be able to be open, and they can't even give us a definite because there's lots of contractual reasons, and and they don't know what they're able to do or not do. But as soon as I can get out, and it makes sense to do so, and that's really the key. I mean, I'm not compelled to get out because of the hobby. I'm gonna go out when it makes sense to do so, and encourage everybody else to do the same as well. Yeah,
it's being responsible, isn't it? For not only it's not only yourself, but also the people around you. It's your friends, your family that you've got to look out for them probably more importantly than you do yourself. So and make sure that's key. So I mean, I was hoping to go to SoCal. That was the next one I was hoping to go to. And then obviously LVO. So hopefully I may see you again at some point, Paul. That'd be great. But
absolutely. Oh, you will. It's going to be somewhere. It's going to be some time.
Yeah.
But when it makes sense.
Absolutely, mate. Well, take care, buddy, and and thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Have a good night. Thanks everybody for watching.